It's like I talked about, he tried to work him inside. He got this ball up and out over the plate, and he does a nice job of just fighting it off and hitting it to left field.
I think they got to play little ball now. Rivas had 8 sacrifice bunts during the season. Not so much give yourself up with the sacrifice. Maybe try to push it to the right side for a base hit, but get somebody in scoring position and back to the top of the order.
And not try to get them all back with one swing of the bat. Just be patient here.
Chavez creeping in at third. He's thinking bunt, and it's low for ball 1. Krasinski having himself a fine series. He has reached base in 7 of 11 plate appearances in this series. That was his 6th hit.
And that's a good feeling, Rick, to be 7 for 11 in the postseason. You got to be feeling pretty confident about what you're doing when you get up in the batter's box.
That's some stretching. Now he will throw to first base a lot, Rick Sutcliffe. Not bashful at all about making lots and lots of tosses over there to Hatterberg.
In this situation, he's looking to get that sinker over the plate where he can beat it in the ground, let his defense work for him.
And by throwing to first, he was trying to see if Rivas would tip his hand, what he's going to do on this pitch.
Right through the chute for a called strike in 92. Runner at first. Rivas trying to stay out of a double play.
I think unlike during the regular season, I think Ron Gardenhire might have to manage a little bit more right now than he did. Denny Hocking yesterday, we talked about swinging at that 3-1 pitch when they were down by 3 runs in the last inning. Not seeing Guzman put down any bunts yesterday in these type spots. In the past, those guys would do it on their own. As far, they've not in this division series.
Wave and a miss by Rivas. That one ate him up.
You're not seeing the productive outs that they made during the season to help win.
And this is a great changeup by Tim Hudson. Rivas is way out in front of that.
Look at the location of that changeup too.
Tim Hudson won 20 games in 2000. That year he finished 2nd in the Cy Young voting.
In the past you might have said, well, that was Greg Maddux like that changeup. What's wrong with saying Tim Hudson like?
The 1-2 fouled away. He's barely alive. Yesterday, Chavez started a dynamite double play. Rivas, the batter in Game 3, tapping third, staying out of the way of the runner, and then gunning across for the twin killing. Well turned by Chavez and Hatterberg. So Rivas hit into that double play. Nobody out here.
Hudson has a whole lot of confidence in his infield here. If he can coax the ground ball, he's going to be confident that they can turn it.
Krasinski the runner. Hudson deals. Another chopper toward Chavez, but foul this time. I'll tell you what, by this point yesterday, our ears were practically bleeding in the Metrodome. But because of the 2-run shot by Miguel Tejada and the way Hudson has pitched, he's allowed just 2 hits and no runs. The crowd has certainly been silenced, at least for the moment.
And all it'll take is one swing of the bat and a base hit. I'm sure this place will become electric again.
Bounded foul again.
Just working these pitch counts, though, Tony, lead me to think that this game's going to come down to a setup type guy, a Bradford or Romero. They're going to have to come in and get somebody out to get to those closers to determine the outcome of this game, because these guys are doing their job working the counts.
Well, they're much better at it today than they were yesterday. And even though they might not get the results they're looking for right now, later on in the game, that pitch count is going to start to get up, and Art Howe's going to have to find somebody to get him to catch in the ninth.
Yeah, but the Twins are down a game and they're running out of time. They got to start manufacturing some runs, which they have not done the entire series. Swinging a drive deep to the corner, but that's foul. But a shot by Luis Rivas. Just 4 home runs during the regular season. He nearly tied it.
And I mean, these people, they rose up in unison when he hit this ball. Look at all the people get on their feet.
Well, that woke him up. One ball and 2 strikes on the second baseman. They have scored just 4 times since game 1 in their last 20 innings. Hudson gets Krasinski back.
When you're trying to strike a guy out, you do one of 2 things. As a pitcher, you either go with your strength or you go to his weakness. Rivas has a weakness for a right-handed breaking ball, but that's not Tim Hudson's strength. He's a sinker changeup type guy, first of all.
The pitch. Off to the right, foul. He came back with a hard one there at 94. So he has thrown 8 pitches to Rivas. Before Przinsky singled, he had thrown him 7 pitches.
And that's what I'm talking about. Those 6, 7, 8 pitch at bats, they start to add up as the game goes along. But somewhere along the way, somebody's going to have to get a big hit for Minnesota.
Oakland leading the series 2-1 after a big win on Friday. The pitch. Over but low. 2-2. Jock Jones waiting his turn. He's on deck. The A's want to go back to Oakland, but not to play the Twins. They want to go back as champions of this series. Swing and a miss. Hudson took something off and floated it by Rivas at 79 miles an hour for his 3rd strikeout.
You know, this ball club loves hitting in this ballpark, but it really wasn't advantageous to Luis Rivas. He's a 280 hitter on the road, just 230 at home. And to me, what it looks like, Tony, in the first 2 games of the series, he's trying to be a home run hitter here rather than a line drive type guy.
Well, you can tell from that swing with 2 strikes. You know, you want to shorten up and try to put the ball in play, but Hudson threw him a great changeup, and I mean, he was way out in front.
It was a 10-pitch at bat. We'll see if that benefits Jock Jones here. First ball swinging, hits it down the line, headed for the wall. It is a fair ball, and it bounces over the sidewall. And into second base with a double, Jock Jones. And because the ballpark couldn't contain it after the bounce, it costs a run.
Well, another thing that cost him a run was Rivas not advancing a runner. If he would have been standing on second, that ball going out of the playing field wouldn't have mattered.
I think Hudson just really missed badly on this pitch and left it on the inside part of the plate. Jock Jones just pulls it right down the line. Now, if this ball stays low and stays in play, I think Minnesota's got a chance to score a run there. But because it didn't and it bounced out, Guzman or Koski's going to have to get a big hit here for Minnesota to get back in this game.
So the crowd becomes a factor again here in the 3rd inning. 2 men on, 2nd and 3rd. 1 down for Minnesota as Al Newman talks with the base runner Przinsky. That's the 4th double of this series, by the way, for Jock Jones. A base hit ties it. Here's Christian Guzman. He's 0 for 1 with a tapper to second. And he takes ball 1. So for the switch hitting Guzman, the question is it his turn in this series? He's a guy used to waiting his turn. He's one of 9 brothers and sisters growing up in a huge family in the Dominican Republic. 49 pitches for Hudson, but he's in trouble now.
We're only in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Minnesota's starting to be a little bit more patient.
Guzman, certainly not noted for patience, has the count at 2-0.
And this is a time in the count where you really want to be, you know, because you're looking for a ball that you can maybe drive somewhere. 2-0, but you know Hudson's you know, his strength is his ability to keep the ball down in the strike zone. And with a runner on third base, you're looking for a ball up in the zone. And so from a hitter's perspective here, you really need to be patient and make sure that if this is the ball you want to swing at it, that it's exactly where you're looking for it.
Hudson deals. Foul tipped at home plate. They count 2-1.
I like what Art Howe's doing right here with defensively having them in at the corners. You got a catcher as the base runner at third base. We talked about the great speed of Minnesota. Well, that's not 90 feet away down that line. You bring them in at the corners, you might have a play at home plate, keeping them from scoring a run.
Well, now it looks like Art Howe's going to have Hatteberg back up a little bit. Chavez is just inside even with the bag. And they know Guzman can run too, so you have to be aware of a bunt, maybe a drag bunt or push bunt.
The 2-1 pitch. Chopper. Tejada will glove it and get it on in good shape to first base. Close play there. The run comes in to score, and that makes it 2-1. So the RBI for Guzman to chase in Przinsky. The runner at second base, Jock Jones, stayed right there. And with 2 away, that'll bring up Corey Koski.
Really a good at bat on that changeup, staying back like he did, not pulling off of it. You see where the infield is positioned. You know if you play Pepper up the middle, you're going to put something on the board, and then you bring your big guys to the plate.
You've gotten back within a run, and now if you get a 2-out hit, it's like finding gold. I mean, those are hard to come by, and so McCoskey's been swinging a bat pretty well for him, and if you can get a 2-out hit, you're even.
0 for 1 as he rattles a foul off to the right. He grounded out to first base in his first at bat. So that makes Corey 2 for 14. He's trying to drive in Jock Jones from second base and knock the score. It's a desperation game for Minnesota. If they lose, they are done. But today there was a cool kind of confidence in their clubhouse. They certainly didn't look rattled, even with Rick Reed having his troubles yesterday and coughing up a 6-3 decision, which gave Oakland a 2-1 lead.
You know, but we talked yesterday, Tony, them coming back and what it's like for the first game at home. You don't have a pass list like you do during the regular season where you just write them down and forget about it. You get tickets. You got to pay for them. You got to make sure that they get to your parents and to your aunts and your uncles and your brothers and sisters. And you know, it was just something new for Minnesota, and once the game started, you could see it.
And I think they heard the stories of how it was in 87 and 91. They wanted to see for themselves. They're obviously excited about playing.
The 1-1 from Hudson, hit hard but foul. And certainly you can't overestimate the value of Ron Gardenhire being in the dugout. He was the third base coach during the 1991 World Series for Tom Kelly, and he could tell his team what to expect and how to react in a noisy building with 56,000 screaming at the top of their lungs, and what to look for.
It's like we talked about at the beginning of this series. It's the little things. It's the little things that allow players to relax. And if you're an everyday guy, that first hit, boy, you can take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm playing baseball. For pitchers, it's throwing that first strike or getting that first out. But coming home and being in front of this many people with this kind of excitement, you're going to be a little amped.
Just inside, Mike Winters would not grant the strike, although Hudson certainly thought it was a strike.
You know, and I think what Gardenhire did with Ortiz shows that, you know what, I don't want my players to panic because I'm not panicking.
Exactly.
Borderline pitch on the inside part of the plate. Hudson wanted it. He didn't get it. But that's with Ortiz being out there. And it's already paid off with a hit for him.
Look at that, 26 pitches in this inning. So it's been a struggle here in the third for Hudson. Slice foul. He ran it right inside on Koski, and he fought it off.
Well, he knows that strike zone, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Hudson is excellent at working both halves. He can work the outer half and the inner half. And if you're a good hitter, you know you got to try to figure out a way to cover both, because he's not going to just work you one way. He's gone away from him. He's come in. He's changed speeds.
Ortiz on deck. Jock Jones at second. A run in for the Twins. They have cut Oakland's lead in half in the third. Too high. 3-2. Let's go back to game one. And this was off of Hudson. Corey Koski knocking a deep drive into the stands as part of that comeback from Minnesota. They rallied from all of their defensive mistakes to win that ball game 7-5. They had fallen behind by 4 runs.
Just watch Koski's approach to the ball as Hudson gets ready to deliver the ball to the plate. I call it is real quiet. There's not much herky-jerky motion to the start of his swing. He's very quiet, very soft on the front foot.
The payoff from Hudson, and he missed with it. Ball 4. That's his first walk. It keeps the inning alive for the cleanup hitter, David Ortiz. He's marching up for Gardenhire.
It'll be a little bit easier for Ortiz to swing the bat this time, Tim?
I think so. You know, he finally got on the board. He got his first hit.
Now that base hit in the second inning, his first in the series. Peterson comes out. Again, Hudson just walked his first hitter.
I don't know if Rick Peterson gets enough credit for the job that he has done. He has really helped Billy Koch this year mature as a pitcher. And look at the 3 guys that he has brought along with Mulder and Zito and now Hudson here today. You know, the story yesterday about how Rick Peterson worked with Barry Zito his freshman year in college. Barry's dad, Joe, seeked Rick Peterson out to come help to get his young son on track, and well, he continues to be on that right track.
Well, each of the last 3 seasons, one of the Oakland Aces has won at least 20 games. Mark Mulder last year, Barry Zito this year with 23, and Tim Hudson in 2000 with 20. And in each case leading the American League.
I was really surprised that over the last 3 years, Tim Hudson has led all starters in the American League in victories with 53. 4th overall to Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, and Tom Glavine of the Braves.
First and second. Ortiz 1 for 1 today. That's low for ball 1. And that's the 60th pitch of the day for Hudson. In game 1, he pitched a grand total of 77.
I think he upset Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, a little bit on that 2-2 fastball to Koski, where he thought he got it. It was clearly off the plate, but he started walking to the dugout. That zone may shrink a little bit.
I totally agree.
Slap toward the corner. Justice on the move. Will he get there? No! That bounces up into the crowd. Ortiz with his second hit drives in a run to tie the game. It's 2-2 in the third, and they are chasing Hudson.
All right, you're going to give the RBI to Ortiz, but half of that credit should go to that rookie manager for the Twins. Not panicking. It might be his first year, but you know what? Tom Kelly was telling us yesterday, he paid attention and he listens and he continues to learn. He didn't panic. He put Ortiz back out there, and he should feel real good about himself.
Ortiz 2 for 2. He drives in Jock Jones. So it's a brand new ball game in the Metrodome, and second and third. The inning's not over yet for Hudson. The hitter is Torrey Hunter. Fouled away and a vicious cut by Hunter, who meant to give the Twins the lead right there with one swing of the bat.
You know, you're talking about Koski being quiet, and I was watching Torrey before that pitch. I mean, he had so much bat movement going on. I think that if Hudson would have thrown the rosin bag up there, he'd have taken a swing at it. You know, that's just learning to control that adrenaline.
Absolutely, and that's the hardest part about hitting, especially in an environment like this, is just being able to take a deep breath and do the things you've done all year long.
This big crowd willing the Twins to take over the game. A broken bat dribbler. Chavez with it. Has to get rid of it quickly and does for out number 3. Well played by Chavez, the Gold Glover. But Minnesota on the strength of 3 hits and an RBI double by Ortiz to tie it have evened things up at 2 at the end of 3. A rally for the Minnesota Twins fighting for their playoff lives. They have tied it at 2 with Oakland. Here in Game 4 of the division series. Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien with it. And here's Jermaine Dye leading off the 4th inning. And the number 4 gives Jermaine Dye chills, because not only is it the 4th game, but it was Game 4 last year in the division series against the Yankees when he fouled off a pitch which went slamming into his shin and breaking his shin bone and ending his season. So it was in this very game of the series that he was lost until the early portion of this season for the Oakland A's. 1 for 1 today with a base hit. He lays off the low one from Milton. And we go back to that injury. Jermaine Dye facing El Duque.
What was that?
Oh, those hurt.
That was Tony taking one right to the solar plexus. Ouch.
I jumped.
Yeah, those hurt. Well, he broke his shin. I've seen that happen. Gary Templeton did the same thing, fouled a ball off his shin and broke it. And they take a while to recover from.
And he took a little while to get back from it. Although his second half very productive. He hit 18 home runs after the All-Star break. Pops it up toward the dugout. Minkiewicz giving chase, but it's into the 3rd row.
What an amazing job General Manager Billy Beane, along with Art Howe, has done with this club. Jermaine Dye coming over from the Kansas City A's. Johnny Damon came over from that organization. Picking up a guy like Dave Justice, just the experience of him in the clubhouse this time of year. I mean, how much can that help, Tony?
I think it helps a lot. I think really it's the difference in the series to me, because the A's bench has veteran guys sitting on it, and the Twins bench doesn't.
Hit sharply and down the line. That's a fair ball. It'll bounce and roll up against the fence and then carry him away from Jones. But Jermaine Dye will settle for the double. He's 2 for 2.
And this is what's happened. This is what happened yesterday. Jermaine Dye had a great at bat yesterday where he fell behind, hit a home run. Again, they try to get this ball in on him, and it's out on the plate. Does a great job of just staying with it, pulling the hands through. Jock Jones thinks he's got a chance to throw him out at second, but it takes a crazy hop out there, and he has to concede the double.
Yesterday, it was Dye's home run in the 6th inning that broke the tie, which was 3-3 at the time. Well, here 2-2, and here's David Justice. So Eric Milton, he gave up a home run in the 3rd to Tejada. Now a double to Dye and a strike to Justice. Here in the 4th inning of the Metrodome in Minnesota. Game 4 of the division series. Oakland in front 2-1. Dave O'Brien, Tony Gwynn, Rick Sutcliffe joining you. And the scenario is pretty simple for the Oakland A's. They win, they move on to the league championship series. The Twins trying to force a Game 5 back in Oakland. Swinging a high pop up into right. And who sees it? Here comes Hunter. Way over into the alley to make the catch, because Kadire had no idea where that ball was. I mean, he completely lost it, and Hunter came over to bail him out.
How many center fielders, Tony, are really a threat to throw anybody out? They're so far away. Kadire had no idea. He's saying, please help me. Where are you at? Well, Torrey says, not only will I help you, but I'm going to help Eric Milton by keeping Jermaine Dye at second base. What an arm.
It's a great all-around play by a guy who gets a lot of credit for his plays, but he saw Kadire with his arms out, not knowing where the ball was. He ran a long way to get himself in position where he could even make a throw.
Mark Ellis, the hitter. He was caught looking in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1.
With a lot of center fielders, David Justice would have done his job there. You pulled the ball, you got it to the right side of the field, you hit it deep enough to advance a guy with Dye's speed, but not with Torrey Hunter out there. Little things that he does that win ball games.
Dye still at second. Ellis, who has had a standout series, 1 for 4 yesterday. And trying to untie it here in the fourth against the left-hander Eric Milton.
For Oakland offensively, he's been a different guy every day. And the bottom half of their lineup has been very productive for them.
I went up to Mark Ellis after manager Art Howe had told me that on the pop-ups I want you to take everything, and I said, Mark, I said Art told you to go get everything right in the air, and that's why you ran into him. He said, did Art say that? And I went, yeah, he did. He goes, okay, well then I'll admit he wasn't going to get in trouble with his skipper.
Yeah. Well, first-year player. Likely to be the everyday second baseman next year as well for the Oakland A's. He hit .272 during the regular season and takes a strike. 2-2, 1 out.
Here's another former Kansas City Royal, that being Mark Ellis. Came over in another one of those three-way deals where Ben Grieve went to Tampa Bay.
Originally out of the state of South Dakota. You don't see many ball players.
Big Twins fan growing up.
Guy at second, and it's popped up. Out goes Guzman. Out goes Rivas. In comes Hunter. Hunter makes the catch. But I'll tell you what, everything hit up toward the roof is a mystery. Every fly ball, every pop-up, everything hit up there around the ceiling is an adventure.
Look at that roof. See those lights? See the Teflon material up there? It's very tough to have a fly ball go up and you take your eye off of it. So you have to keep looking up there.
It'd just be too expensive for them to change that, though. You think about the ballparks now with the retractable roofs and how it's not a factor. They've gotten that worked out. This stadium has just been around too long.
And you're talking about Gold Glove, spectacular outfielders and infielders were made to look like little leaguers on pretty routine pops. It's amazing to watch. Here's Terrence Long. He struck out in the second inning.
That's why you need a center fielder out there who's going to take charge. And for years they had Kirby Puckett running around out there, and he won many a Gold Glove, and now Torrey Hunter taking over, and he looks like he's going to win many a Gold Glove too.
Kirby Puckett, the great Minnesota Twin Hall of Famer, here yesterday, spending some time in the clubhouse, talking with the Twins. Great to see Kirby. Always with a smile on his face. A diving stab by Minkevich. He'll feed the pitcher. Got him! In time! And that preserves the tie. Minkevich, talking about Gold Glovers, lays out on the turf for a magnificent stop. And we're still in a 2-2 tie. A 2-2 tie. The A's and the Twins. Minkevich really pumped up after his brilliant defensive play.
When you make a play like that, that saved the run. Kept them tied, and now you're leading off. And so, usually when you're coming up to the plate, you don't want to show all that much emotion, but they realize the importance of today's game. They've got to have it today.
Well, he's the man who has vowed that Oakland will not be celebrating on this field at the end of the day. Minkevich, a college star at Florida State, a U.S. Olympic gold medalist in Sydney 2 years ago, and before that he went to Miami's Westminster Christian High School. He lived about 3 blocks from the school, so all of his teammates used to hang out at Doug's house, including a young Alex Rodriguez, one of his teammates. And he says that about 2/3 of A-Rod's wardrobe in high school was stuff from Doug's closet. And he said, I was always giving him lunch money. Can you imagine that now? I was giving A-Rod money. But they go back a long way. 154 in the division series, trying to bring that up here. He is 0 for 1.
The best thing I liked about when he won that Olympic gold medal, Dave, as you mentioned, he hit .414, and he had 2 game-winning homers during that. But you know what his comment was? He says, nobody's going to remember what I hit. They remember that we won.
Swing and a miss. An all-out cut. You see Minkevich, like another outstanding defensive first baseman, Mark Race. He goes without the batting gloves, the bare-fisted look.
That's a little easier to do when you have a controlled climate.
Yeah.
Gracie's out there sometimes in April at Wrigley when he's got a controlled climate now, though.
The pitch up the middle and a base hit. And he's heading towards second. He took a big turn now back to first base. And Cavage putting pressure on Long there in center field. Well, he made the great defensive play, and now he leads off the fourth with a single.
And that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, you know, hits this ball right up the middle, and if you're thinking about maybe making this a double, the only way you can is to come out of that box, run it. And he comes out of that box, and he's going to try to put the pressure on Terrence Long to make a play.
So Mientkiewicz aboard. And the last couple of innings, Hudson is starting to get touched up. Kadire is 0 for 1. He's lined out to center.
That's another one of those situations, Tony, where statistics don't tell the whole story. Right. Mientkiewicz on the year, 260, just 10 home runs, 64 RBIs for a first baseman. You got to make a change, right? No. Big hits, big plays, a lot of wins.
Kadire misses again on the cut, and he's in the hole 0-2. Just 49 regular season games for Kadire after they called him up from the minor leagues.
He's another one of those guys, Dave, that, you know, the Minnesota Twins, their general manager, Terry Ryan, they just keep coming up with. They have done so much with guys that signed their first contracts with the Twins.
The roster loaded with homegrown talent. That's how they've gotten this far. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Boy, Hudson dispensed with him in quick fashion. And that's the first out in the inning.
Tony, a little inexperience coming out again?
Once again, I think so. I think guys are just anxious, you know, trying to make something happen. Hudson down in the zone. There's not very much you can do with that pitch right there.
Take it.
And so take it.
You know, you've seen a lot of splits and change-ups. Hudson will throw both of them, but the guys that have had success recognize that pitch. They're not trying to pull it, and they're able to either take it or foul it off.
Well, Gardenhire talked about before the game today, they just wanted he wanted them to be aggressive, but aggressive in the strike zone, balls that they can handle.
So the hot hitting catcher, A.J. Brzezinski, will step in now with a runner on and 1 out. He's singled in the third, so he is 6 for 10 in this division series.
There's another guy signed his first professional contract with the Twins. Torrey Hunter, Radke, Jock Jones, even their closer, Eddie Gallardo. What a job they have done from within.
I think that's the old-fashioned way.
You know, that was, to me, always the key to success with Tom Kelly, the manager here for many, many years before Gardenhire took over. There were 3 things. First of all, you had to hustle.
Right.
If you didn't hustle for him, you didn't play.
That's exactly right.
You had to pitch, which means you had to throw strikes. He didn't care about strikeouts or whatever. Throw a strike. And you had to play defense. And you know what? They're reaping what Tom Kelly left here right now.
I agree. I just think that more clubs have gotten away from building their organization from within. Going out, drafting the players, teaching them how to play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Inside for ball, and Ronnie Gardenhire in his office before the game. A funny story yesterday. He said Tom Kelly was in the clubhouse and the advanced scout came up to him and said, "Hey, you got any words of advice for Gardenhire?" And Kelly said, "He's going to game 3. He's got him in game 3. He doesn't need any help from anybody. He's doing just fine."
But Gardenhire said that, I said, "You talked to Tom during the season?" "Yeah, he'd call me from time to time." He said, "Always to tell me something I did wrong."
Mientkiewicz at first base and a toss over. He says Kelly is always very respectful. The first thing he'll say, call up every once in a while, and he'll say, "This is just a suggestion. This is just a thought." And that's how they begin the conversation. But why not rely on someone like Tom Kelly, who many believe was the best manager in the game when he managed the team?
I mean, you know, you remember this club, this same group of guys, he used to bring them out here after games and make them practice and learn how to do things the right way, and it's really paid off.
Brzezinski tried to lift and knock that one out of the ballpark. He missed it 1-2.
I thought Brzezinski was really one of the keys to that third inning. You know, working the count like he did, along with, even though Rivas made it out, it took a lot of pitches to get that done, and eventually Ortiz was able to hit that double to tie the ball game up. On the same hand, the long at bats in the top of the third for the A's by Durham and Hatteberg set up that homer by Tejada.
Right. And that's really the name of the game that they're playing right now. It's kind of like two teams driving down the field but can't score. They have to punt. Right now they're battling for position because sooner or later both of these teams are going to have to get to the bullpen.
Tied at 2 in the 4th. Brzezinski gets a piece of it. So he is still swinging. Luis Rivas due to hit next unless Brzezinski hits into a double play.
Tom Kelly saying last year when he had Paul Molitor on his staff along with Jerry White, 2 of the best base runners ever. He said, you know what, we implemented a drill. Take a look at Minkiewicz here. Watch what happened. He sees the ball down. Look at that little crow hop he took. Nobody takes the extra base on balls in the dirt any better than this team does. Why? Because they practice it.
Over the shoe tops for ball, and now it's 2-2. I'll tell you what, Hudson has certainly labored the last couple of innings far more than he did in the first 2 innings. Well, he started the contest by getting the Twins 1-2-3 in the first inning. Gave up a hit in the second, but nothing came of that. But in the 3rd inning, he had to work his way through 7 hitters. He gave up 2 runs, 3 hits. And now this is turning into a long inning for him. And it's just the 3rd batter in. Great eye by Brzezinski, and it's a full count.
And the pitch count continues to go up.
He has thrown as many pitches only into the 4th inning of this one as he did in all of game 1.
And don't forget, that was just 3 days ago. This is the first time all year he's pitched on less than his normal rest.
And so let's see if Ron Gardenhire decides to try to get some action going here if he lets the runner go 3-2.
You have to.
He's running. Fouled away down the line. Stoked by Brzezinski. And with Minkiewicz on the move. But he hit it foul.
Well, the only thing that can hurt you, to me, when you're going to send the runner with a 3-2 count is that line drive right at somebody. And that almost happened there. Almost happened to be a double down that line.
Tim Hudson doesn't want to see much more of this hitter today. Brzezinski in his 2 at-bats has seen 14 pitches.
He's had 2 back-to-back really good at-bats here. He's given his teammates plenty of pitches to see.
The 3-2, the runner goes, and it's ball 4. The Twins are building something in the 4th inning off of Hudson. The batter will be Luis Rivas. Tejada to talk it over with Hudson.
Tony, we've seen a lot of guys from Minnesota settle down here this afternoon. Guzman with the RBI. Ortiz has done some things. What does Rivas have to do?
Same kind of thing, I think. It's the difference here is now he's hitting with 1 out. And so with 1 out, you know, you're going to have to try to get a base hit. You're going to have to try to be patient, try to get a ball that you can handle. Where the other times when he was hitting, most of the time they were bunt situations. We were kind of surprised that maybe he didn't drop a bunt down, get a guy in the scoring position. Now he's hitting with 1 out. He's going to have to try to get a base hit.
Hudson struck out this man the first time they met. That's foul tip for strike 1. He tried to check, but he got a piece of it. Rivas, 2 out of 9 in the division series. The Twins trying to get a lead.
You can tell how anxious he is because even when he takes a pitch, you know, this last pitch he saw, he didn't want to swing at that pitch, but he foul tipped it.
Well, he struck out yesterday in his first at bat, hit into a double play in his second. He popped up to the pitcher in his 3rd at bat, pinch hit for in his 4th at bat, struck out here again in his first at bat today.
The 0-1 pitch, he buried it into the dirt. 1-1, 2 on. The Twins facing elimination. They have to win, but they have not led since the end of the first game, which they went on to win 7-5. Lost yesterday 6-3. Never had the lead in that one. Tejada's 2-run homer got Oakland in front this afternoon here in game 4. Minnesota has tied it. Ground ball to short. Tejada goes to third, and he throws it away. Here comes Minkiewicz in to score. Now, that ball looked like it skipped into the dugout from here. And if that's the case, and Gardenhire wants to know, why isn't Przinsky being allowed to score?
I think what he's saying is that by the time this ball went in the dugout, Przinsky hadn't gotten to second base. That's the only argument I can see.
We'll take a look. Jerry Crawford telling Gardenhire they'll stay at second and third. At the top of the screen. Let's see if Przinsky is into second base when it goes into the dugout.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is at second base.
I tell you the one thing about it, though, Jerry Crawford could not have seen that. He was watching the throw in the bag. Jerry Crawford's not looking. Look at what he was looking at. Yep. He couldn't have told you what was going on behind him. I think he might have asked for help in that situation.
Well, the Twins take the lead. The error by Tejada. Second and third, one out, and the batter, Jock Jones. Finally, Minnesota has a lead, although they think it ought to be 2 runs.
That's the second time this afternoon that a ball has gotten away from Tejada on the throw. We remember when he overthrew Hudson at first base on what should have been a double play.
Jones in the game has struck out, and he has doubled. Check swing, kicked off by Hernandez. Here comes the run, trying to score. Przinsky will! On a wild pitch, another run for the Twins. They lead it 4-2.
Nobody does it better. Last year in spring training, Tom Kelly implemented in spring training a workout just designed for everybody to learn that. Take that extra base, and because of that in spring training last year, again this year, they pick up a big run and now have a 2-run lead. There it is. Look at him down there. Look at that. He's looking for it. Now I got to go. You got to pick up the baseball. They want to take that extra base, and they're not afraid to take a chance, Tony.
And that was excellent. He was walking down the line. You land on your right foot. You see that ball get away. You push off. You go to the plate.
So the A's have gotten sloppy. An error and a wild pitch in the inning. The Twins up. Oakland's infield is in. Rivas at third base. And that one hit him. Jones gets drilled by the pitch, and he will take his base. And now Hudson seems to be coming a bit unglued. First and third with 1 out.
I think it's all about the at-bat with Przinsky. He made so many good pitches, was not able to get an out. Eventually he walked him, and now he doesn't know where he can throw the ball to get anybody out.
Lilly, the left-hander, loosening up quickly now all of a sudden for the Oakland A's, and Peterson is marching out to the mound again. Rick Peterson, the pitching coach. 4-2 Minnesota. And you know what? There's only been 1 hit in the inning, and they've scored twice. An error by Tejada, and that's twice today that Miguel Tejada, the MVP candidate, has overthrown a man on the corner at first base, and he's done it again at third.
Yeah, it's not really all Hudson's fault either, because this should have been an easy play. You've got it right in front of you. You just throw it 40 feet, and it's an out. But when you airmail Chavez, there's not even anything he can do. I mean, if you bounce that ball, he probably comes up with it.
Well, you know, if I'm Ron Gardenhire, I still might be arguing that call, because from the field of play, if a ball goes into the dugout, it's 2 bases. Yeah. And they've scored 1 of those runs already, and if they don't get this other run in, I mean, I don't know if I would let it go.
Well, you're not going to get the crew chief to ask for help, though.
No.
And that's who Jerry Crawford is.
Here's Christian Guzman. He has grounded out twice, but the last time he drove in a run with a chopper to short. First and third, 1 down, and 2 runs in for Minnesota. And the only hit in the inning was Doug Minkiewicz's single.
Yeah, I agree with Rick. I think Przinsky's AB, seeing as many pitches as he did, has really set up this whole inning right here.
Yeah, and there have been a number of 7 and 8 pitch at bats. There have been 3 or 4 of them by the Oakland hitters, and in particular, down low in the order, 6 through 9.
Yeah, you know, Hudson's already in the 80s now with his pitch count, and we're only in the bottom of the 4th inning. It isn't like we're in the bottom of the 6th or 7th.
Guzman, a switch hitter, takes a strike, and that's 86 pitches for Hudson.
As you can see, from the 3rd inning on, his pitch count has really started to explode. And so now Ted Lilly's up in the bullpen, and he's probably going to see some action today because they're not going to let Hudson just go out and throw more than 100 pitches.
Yeah, not on 3 days rest.
3 days rest, exactly.
Jones and Rivas leading. He flirted with a bunt. Guzman pulled it back in time. 1-1.
I think here's another spot where Guzman can just hit a ball on the ground. Not many people can, but he's going to have to hit it hard on one hop to turn a double play with his speed. You don't turn the double play, you pick up another run.
And I tell you, a good play for him because of his ability to bunt is just a simple drag bunt to the second baseman.
A bluff again by Hudson, and the runners get back.
I think that's all by design. I think Art Howe has sent in both of those pickoff throws. We know that Hudson will do it a lot on his own, but he's trying to give Lilly even more time to get ready if Minnesota's able to do more damage.
The Twins looking to tie the series at 2-2 and force a game 5. And he was trying to bring it with him, Tony Gwynn. He was trying to drag it. But that time flicked it foul, but he had bunt on his mind.
And it's a good play because if you can put it, if you can get it down, the run's going to score. The runner at first is going to advance to second. You're going to do your job and knock the run in and give the guy behind you a chance to drive in another one.
The Twins looking for the big extra base hit. They finally have a lead. Their first since game 1. A couple of more runs would be huge. Bloop foul. Guzman not bunting that time, and they count 1-2.
Hudson paying a lot of attention to Jock Jones, but Tony, I'd be really surprised if he took off here. If you were to get thrown out, now there's 2 outs, you get Guzman out. The big boys don't come to the plate. I think you got to stay put there and just hope that Guzman doesn't hit into a double play.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I just think he wants to, if he can do something to have him take his mind off of Guzman at the plate. He's going to bounce around a little bit over there, but we're going to put some faith in Guzman that he can put the ball in play.
Hudson comes homeward. Tap to Hatterberg. He's coming home. And now Rivas scores. He got around him. Bobbled at the plate by Hernandez on the throw by Hatterberg. It is 5-2. They had Rivas dead to rights at the plate, but Hernandez bobbled the throw.
Tony, you take that speed and you make the opposition look silly. Hatterberg hesitated when he got it. He couldn't make the exchange. I think he was shocked that Rivas was coming. And then the bad throw. Look at him hesitate there. He was in disbelief. I mean, there's not a whole lot that Ramon Hernandez can do on that throw with that glove other than just block it.
Absolutely. And he did a nice job of keeping that ball in front of him.
And look at the look on his face. Hudson coming out. Hernandez with a glare there for Hatterberg. 2 errors and 2 wild pitches in the inning. 5-2 Minnesota. The left-hander Ted Lilly comes out of the bullpen. His numbers for the regular season, a 4.01 ERA. He replaces Tim Hudson, who cannot get the second out here in the 4th inning. But the A's have been tremendously sloppy, very much like the Twins in game 1 when they made 3 errors, 2 of them in the first inning. Well, Oakland has been awful here in this inning. They've committed 2 errors. There's been a hit batsman and a wild pitch. Only 1 hit in this frame. Swing and a miss by Koski. Runners at first and second, and just the 1 out. And only 1 ball has left the infield in this inning, but Minnesota has scored 3 times.
The Twins were looking for a break, for an opportunity, put some runs on the board, and they've got it this inning. And now they got a chance to add on, and they really need to.
Wide to Koski. He is 0 for 1 with the walk. It is game 4 of the division series. The Oakland A's and the Minnesota Twins from the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Oakland up 2-1, but the Twins, capitalizing on a lot of mistakes by the A's here in the 4th, have taken a 3-run lead in their bid to stave off elimination. Fouled off to the left and out of play.
I really do, Tony. I agree with you there. I think it's big that they put some more runs on the board here. You got a guy that's normally a starting pitcher on the mound. You got one of the aces for the Oakland A's out of the ball game already here in the 4th inning. The crowd is still on their feet. You don't want to let this thing settle down because of the firepower Oakland had.
And this is where they took advantage of the A's in game 1 when Lilly came in. You had left-handed hitters hitting, and they got some base hits.
Koski lines it up the middle out of the reach of Ellis. 1 run in. Guzman heading into 3rd. He pulls up there. It is 6-2.
That's just good hitting by Corey Koski. Takes this ball right back up the middle, and then watch how the Twins run the bases. Guzman flying around second base, got to 3rd easily.
I'll tell you what, Al Newman, the third base coach, had to almost grab him to stop him. They want to keep going, boy, and if you don't put that stop sign up, they're going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that name, Corey Koski. A.J. Pierzynski. Look at Al Newman. All right, get going. I know you're going to score. All right, I'm thinking about it. Whoa! I know you want to go. I'd like to send you, but hopefully we'll get you there.
That brings up David Ortiz. But Jock Jones flying home with a 6th run. Charged that to Hudson. Koski with his first RBI today. Ortiz 2 for 2. He doubled in a run in his last at bat. The lefty misses wide.
How about the 4th inning for Doug Mankiewicz? He's my MVP. Oakland was going to take the lead without his defense. He got what seemed like just a meaningless little single to start this inning. Huh? Meaningless meant 4 or more.
A strike at the knees on Ortiz. Torrey Hunter will bat next, and then if the inning is still alive, Mankiewicz, who started the frame with that seemingly meaningless base hit, which meant a lot as it turned out, would bat again in this 4th inning. 1st and 3rd, 1 gone, and a swing and a miss by Ortiz. But you know what? The inning ought to be over. Ortiz strikes out for just the 2nd out. But the inning ought to be done, if not for all the mistakes by the Oakland A's.
I was going to say Tim Hudson really didn't do anything wrong.
No.
You know, his defense, which has been there for him all year long, they're the ones really that let him down as opposed to him letting the team down.
Torrey Hunter now is the 9th man to swing a bat in this inning for Minnesota.
You know, the baseball world doesn't know some of the guys that we have mentioned, the Eric Miltons and the Eddie Guardados, but tell you what, they know Torrey Hunter.
Yeah.
First Twin voted to the All-Star game since 1995. That was Kirby Puckett then. And then when he went over the wall and got that homer, or what seemed to be a homer off Barry Bonds' bat back, they know him.
Well, I know Barry knew him before that, but that's a fine way to reintroduce yourself. Steal a home run, and that produced, I thought, the top moment. Barry going over and picking him up. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that'll make the seats off to the right side. So bust-out inning for the Minnesota Twins. This 4th inning started with Hudson on the mound, and the game tied at 2. Now the Twins have a comfortable lead. They may not be done building that lead, and it started with Minkiewicz, the man in the on-deck circle, with his single. He's 1 for 2 and has made a wonderful defensive play, which also saved the run. Lily's 1-2 pitch in tight.
You know, Tony, a couple innings ago, you mentioned how quiet the hitter was, and I'm watching that on every hitter now. And I'm seeing Torrey Hunter just, he just bounce. It looks like a little bit more tension there than what he needs.
It's like he's squeezing that handle to turn it into sawdust when he's standing there holding it. And now that they've gotten the lead, you would expect them to relax a little bit.
That one skips away from Hernandez. Here comes the run. Another one in. That's all the way up the third base line. And Koski is into third. 7-2 Minnesota.
I think they're going to send Koski back to second. Because really, it's a good play by Ramon Hernandez. He let that ball go into the dugout. If it goes in the dugout, you only get one base.
That's right. It did roll into the dugout. And so Koski will be sent back to second base.
Because Hernandez didn't break on this ball right away. And Koski did a great job. He just put his head down and kept on going.
Well, Hernandez doesn't break right away, but take a look at Minnesota's base runner. They are off and running, okay? You score easily on that ball. But after that play, Koski, he not only wanted to get to third, he had thoughts of coming home on this ball. There's Newton. Take a look at him. Here he comes. Look at Newton. I mean, I was thinking, well, maybe we will here.
But it disappeared from our view, but it did roll into the dugout. And so Koski sent back to second, but Guzman getting some refreshment in the dugout. Swing a shot out to left center field by Hunter. That's going to bring in another run. Koski can score. Long falls down, and Hunter races to second. Another run in, 8-2 Minnesota. The fans in the Metrodome thinking, we want Game 5.
Got that foot down.
Yeah, he did. Nice swing. And he had his mind made up. He was going to go for 2. Terrence Long does a nice job of cutting it off. Now watch the emotion.
A 6-run inning, and the Twins have batted around. Here's Minkiewicz. A disastrous inning for the Oakland A's. 2 errors, 2 wild pitches, 1 hit batsman, and it all comes unraveled. 6 runs, all unearned. And the Twins leading by a half dozen. Good shot. That'll find a home. An RBI single. Hunter scores. 9-2 Minnesota.
Dave, Tony, he said it wasn't going to end here, and he's having a lot to do with that being Doug Minkiewicz.
How about the inning he's had? A diving stop, starts the inning off with a base hit, hits 2 hits for the second time this inning, and gets a base hit and an RBI.
He drives in Torrey Hunter. 9-2 the Twins, and indeed Doug Minkiewicz vowed before the game, he said, we will not let them celebrate on our field. We are going to make them go back to Oakland.
Well, think about it now, they got the lead, but Minkiewicz is still bouncing off the bag like he was at the start of this inning. Looking for a ball in the dirt, any kind of bad hop, he's going to take off and go to second. It's a real credit, really, for them to continue to play the game the way they played it all year long. They haven't been intimidated at all. They just kind of settled in and started to play their style of game.
Godiah with a swing and a fly to left field. David Justice beneath it. That ends a resounding inning for the Minnesota Twins. Facing elimination. They blow the game open in the 4th inning in the Metrodome. At the end of 4 in Minnesota, the Twins lead it 9-2. They're demanding more baseball in the Metrodome after today, and they're counting down the wins to what would be a third World Championship for the Minnesota Twins. Doug Minkiewicz with 2 hits in the same inning. He also made a wonderful defensive play that ties a division series record, those 2 hits in the 4th inning. And Minnesota jumping all over the Oakland A's. Certainly the A's burying themselves with a slew of errors. Here's Ramon Hernandez. On to the 5th inning we go, and he pops it up. Milton is calling for it on the mound, and right there on the hill he takes it for the out.
Like Milton wasn't going to take any chances here. He was going to make sure they got the out.
2 errors, 2 wild pitches. There was also a hit batsman in the inning, leading to 7 Twin runs. They brought up 11 hitters. As it turns out, 5 of the runs unearned. Tejada with a key error as he put one right over the head of the third baseman Chavez on a short toss. But Minnesota kept the pressure on, and after all the mistakes, then a bunch of hits.
Yeah, and that's what good teams do. You give the good teams an extra out in an inning, and I'll bet you they'll cash it in more times than not, and that's what the Twins did.
Ray Durham 0 for 2. He is struck out and fly to center field. Today's crowd even better than yesterday. Certainly larger, 55,960. That is the new franchise record. So the last 2 days they have set new club records in the Metrodome.
And I'm sure that Ron Gardenhire is going to keep an eye on Eric Milton here too.
Now Milton not long off of knee surgery for torn meniscus, which in Rick Sutcliffe's day was torn cartilage.
Sore knee.
Or sore knee.
Yeah. That's
Hey.
more like.
Tape it up. Fastball in for a strike.
You know, I am thrilled for the baseball fans and the players here in Minnesota. What a year it's been for them.
It has been. It really has.
They deserve this.
Yep. The franchise on its deathbed. And you come in here today on a Saturday afternoon in October, and you're talking about almost 60,000 baseball fans getting to decibel levels of 107. America's heartland, and the Twins looking to go to the West Coast for tomorrow's Game 5. Fouled off by Durham. Scott Hatterberg up next.
You know, Tony, I think we both agree that, you know, contraction. I mean, you just, as a player, former players, you can't have that.
No.
There's too many jobs that were involved there. And some of the jobs I'm thinking of right now are the minor league instructors for the Twins and the development that in time they put in putting this product on the field.
Fly ball by Durham. Torrey Hunter fading back. Plenty of time to get there. 2 out.
It's one thing to draft talented players. It's another thing to put them into your system and have them turn into what they have now.
Folks, don't miss the extreme illusions of Chris Angel in an all-new original special, Mind Freak, premiering Sunday, October 20th. That's part of the 13 Nights of Halloween on ABC Family. Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien. It is Game 4 of the Division Series. And it is turning into a Minnesota rout of the Oakland A's. Scott Hatterberg has doubled. He's walked and scored. He's done just fine at the plate. But he also made a throwing mistake as part of the 7-run inning that the Twins piled on. His throw to the plate, skipping to Hernandez, who could not haul it in. Tejada made an error. The wild pitches were deadly as well. And the Twins look very accommodating and fouled away.
I'm thinking that the unearned runs and errors for the Minnesota Twins might be a thing of the past. They are. I couldn't believe the confidence they had this morning, Tony.
Well, yeah, I could, because I think, you know, they learned a lot in yesterday's game. And I think the first thing, and a lot of guys were talking about this morning, the first thing they learned is they got to relax. You know, you cannot play this game tense. You can't play this game nervous. And even if you are, you know, a couple of pitches into the game, you're going to learn to relax. And I think they came in today's game a lot more relaxed than they were yesterday. They knew what the crowd was going to be like. They knew, you know, what was going to happen for them to get a lead and take this to a game 5. And they understood the pressure, and we've seen they've answered.
When we go back to the top of the first game of the series, the A's have not scored. Eric Milton.
Miguel Tejada on deck. A fly ball well hit to right, but Kadire now begins to back up to the track. He sees it, and the side is retired. A 1-2-3 inning for Milton. He had a long wait before he had a chance to go back to the mound, but he zipped through it. A 4th inning explosion brings the Twins to a 9-2 lead over the Oakland A's here in Game 4. Major League Baseball playoffs continue tomorrow. The Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. Game 4 if necessary. That's on ABC Family, 1 o'clock Eastern. The Twins and the A's. Looks like for all the world, Game 5 is going to be necessary on ABC Family or ESPN2. Braves and Giants at 4 Eastern. That would be Game 4. Also the Angels and the Yankees on Fox if necessary. That would be Game 5 at 7:30 Eastern. And that's all coming up on Sunday. And that's with a whole lot of baseball left today.
There is a lot left, but I got a feeling during the break the fans in Oakland started looking for those Game 5 tickets that have them.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that they're going to make them play a Game 5 tomorrow. Being in Minneapolis, they're going to make them fly home. We don't know what time, but if there is a Game 5.
Fly to left by Przinsky. Tagged it pretty well, but Justice reaches up for it. 1 gone.
That's a lot to ask for 2 teams that won their divisions and earned the right to be here, to fly, not give them a day off and make them play the next day.
Likely to be Radke against Mulder. Now, at this point, are you going to dare sending one of those or both of those starting pitchers on ahead of the club? Would you even think about it?
I didn't see Radke before the game, but we know Mulder's here.
Yeah. And I don't think so. I think we started this game at 12 o'clock today, so it's not like we're gonna get home at 1 o'clock in the morning or something for a 1 o'clock game. Maybe.
Here's Radke in the middle of your frame. Rivas hammers that one into the turf, and Tejada guns him down.
Well, and we know too that these teams aren't going to go to the airport and be patted down and go through security and all that. They're going to get on a charter. I mean, it's going to be one of those 45 minutes after the last out.
Absolutely,
plus, boys.
Yeah. You're right.
Got to fly to Oakland. Jock Jones will hit here with the bases empty, 2 gone. That's the way it's looking right now anyway. It is a comfortable 7-run lead, but it is also only the 5th inning. And the A's, as everybody knows, with the potential to explode, get right back in it. Jones pops it up. Ellis doing the breaststroke will make the catch. They go 1-2-3. It remains 9-2 Minnesota. Tejada, Chavez, and Dye coming up. The Twins came into this 4th game of the division series facing elimination, but they were a very confident group in their clubhouse and on the field before the game. Dustin Moore will take over in right field for Kadire. And Minnesota with a 9-2 lead and looking like they're in great shape to force a Game 5 in Oakland. Miguel Tejada has flied out. He's also belted a 2-run homer, which, however, briefly gave Oakland a 2-0 lead. 55,960 watching this game in the Metrodome. Fouled off by Tejada. Chavez and Dye after him.
Miguel Tejada, boy, how much does he love playing baseball? The longest current consecutive game streak going now. He's played in 162 games the last 2 years. And then when the season's over with, he still plays winter ball, Tony.
Sometimes in order to get a grip on your game, you need to understand the things you need to do. So a lot of guys like to go and play a 162 game schedule and then go play some winter ball somewhere and work on their craft a little bit more.
And I'm sure Miguel feels like he owes it to people to play winter ball.
Loops that one to Jock Jones, who hardly has to move for the first down. One away in the 6th.
You know, Vinny Castilla played for years. You know, he would go back to Mexico. He says, because, you know, they're the ones that gave me an opportunity to play in the big leagues. And if they want me to play, and, you know, he talks about growing up watching other people play. That's what gave him the dream of playing in the big leagues. And for Miguel to go back and play winter ball, there's other kids that dream the same thing.
Well, I played winter ball in Puerto Rico, and
Chavez with a base hit into right. He muscles it into the outfield, so he is 1 for 3 today.
And a lot of guys felt like it was important to go back and play in their native country and let people at home have a chance to see them do their thing, you know, in their particular countries. And
how much did you learn playing?
I learned a lot. I mean, I played 2 years. I played 1 year with Art Howe. He was my manager the first year. And you got an idea. I had an idea that, you know, one day he would be a major league manager because he was very meticulous about pitch counts and defenders and how they pitch you and all those things you don't think of as a player.
Even while he was
when he was playing, right? He was still playing them. And so
Jermaine Dye, the batter, with a runner at first and 1 out. Eric Milton back to work, and there's a single to right. And Jermaine Dye has had a 3 for 3 day. 2 singles and a double now.
Well, you know that Ron Gardenhire is going to be careful with Eric Milton here in the pitch count. He's a big part of not only the postseason for the Twins, if there is a continuation of that, but he's a big part of their future. I mean, this is a #1 type guy. But Tony, just like you said, you know, why are they playing a day game tomorrow? Now you got to milk Eric Milton for as much as you can get out of it, because you want your bullpen as fresh as it can be for a possible Game 5.
Because you know Eric Milton's not going to be able to pitch tomorrow.
Right.
And so you want to try to get as many innings out of him as you can to save your bullpen.
Make sure he's the only one that can't pitch tomorrow.
That's exactly right.
David Justice has popped up and flied out, but he has 2 men on now and 1 away in the 6th. The young A's have been very highly complimentary about David Justice and the leadership role he has actively taken on this team. I mean, David is a gold medal talker, and he's not afraid to share what he has learned in 13 seasons in the majors, and they've really responded to him.
You know, if I'd been to the postseason as often as he's been there, I don't think I'd be afraid not to talk about how great it is to go to the World Series or you know, win a division and go to the playoffs.
Been to the playoffs 10 times in 12 years. Grounded hard. Minkiewicz looked at second, but retreats to first for the shore out. And the runners move up to second and third with 2 away.
That's a great play right there. You got a huge target running down the baseline towards second base. You don't know if Dye is going to throw an arm out or what might happen with that throw. It's a 7-run lead. There's 2 outs right now. Why take a chance? And as good as Minkiewicz is, and you say it keeps a runner out of scoring position, look at it. He thought about it and he went, wait a minute. You know, I'm not going to take that chance right now. You get an out right here, they don't score.
That's exactly right.
He's smart.
He took a long look at second, too, and he says, you know, I probably could get this in there, but I'm just going to take the out because we need outs right now.
Fouled away by Ellis. Mark Ellis has struck out looking. He's popped up as well. But as you see, a very good division series going. Oakland 0 for their last 10 with runners in scoring position, but a base hit here could very well mean 2 runs. It would make it a 9-4 game, and if you're the Oakland A's, you are going to start feeling like you're still in this thing.
Yeah, they just 1 hit away from working their way back into this game.
But Ellis pops it up. Rivas there. End of the inning. A little threat for Oakland, but they strand 2 men. And the Twins on their way to Game 5, perhaps, leading by 7. Well, the A's have suffered through a disastrous inning, but it started very well as we get a peek at the game track. Miguel Tejada in the 3rd inning with a 2-run homer to put Oakland in front 2-0. In the 4th inning, though, it just fell apart. Tejada with a throwing error. There were 2 wild pitches in the frame. There was also another throwing mistake at home plate. And the Oakland A's committing 2 errors, 2 wild pitches, plus a hit batsman, gave up 7 runs, and Minnesota blew it open to take a 9-2 lead. Scott Hatterberg and Miguel Tejada with key errors in that inning. Tim Hudson probably deserved a better fate, but he is going to suffer the loss today unless the A's come back in grand style. Swinging a high pop up in a shallow left center. Racing out Tejada, he'll make the catch. And Rick, you made a good point during the commercial break about the fact that the ceiling, you made several of them actually, and some of them are airable, believe it or not. And this topic of the roof and does either side have an advantage in the Metrodome? You said no, neither side does. Both sides have looked like they've struggled with it.
But I think the big advantage is that the Twins get to play so many games on turf. And other teams come in, you might only play 3 games all year, and just not making excuses for Tejada or Hatterberg, but the ball it gets to you a little bit quicker. Those bounces are a little bit higher, and your timing just gets thrown off a little bit, and possibly the reason for those just, bad throws.
Corey Koski with an RBI single in the 4th inning. He's gone 1 for 2. And after him, it'll be David Ortiz, and all of these guys batted in the 4th inning. In fact, 11 men came up to hit in that frame. And the Twins, partially because of the turf, very good defensively. The fewest errors in Major League Baseball. They say you never get a bad hop on turf.
Tony, you know what that tells me, though? I mean, obviously, you catch the balls that are hit at you, but these guys do a lot more than that.
Yeah.
The Houston Astros led the National League in fielding percentage of the team, but those guys just make the routine play. They're not above average as far as range-wise defensive team. These guys are incredible.
And they can run. Being on turf makes them quicker, obviously, which is going to allow them to get to more balls. They use their speed very well.
Well struck deep right center, but Long has a beat on it and will make the catch. 2 away.
Just a simple little thing that looking at Terrence Long going to that part of the ballpark back in the 1st. You got to keep Oakland from scoring in the 1st. Who did it? Torrey Hunter. Yeah. I didn't think he was going to get that ball. I didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't either, and he did. And he got to it pretty easily too. I
mean, you're a Gold Glove outfielder, and you're sitting up here with the same viewpoint. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, and they use their speed in this ballpark to, not only on the offensive end but on the defensive end too.
LaCroix to hit for David Ortiz in the 4th spot. So Gardenhire brings up a pinch batter with 2 out and the bases empty. In the division series, he's gone 2 for 4.
You want to get him involved. Once again, another youngster that is part of the future here in Minnesota. Former #1 pick. Minor league roommates with Michael Kadire. Both of them drafted the same round. Kadire, the 9th pick that year. LaCroix, the 50th pick. That was one of those sandwich type drafts where you lose somebody, you get somebody.
LaCroix splitting time this season between Edmonton in the minor leagues, where he hit .351, and the Minnesota Twins. He had .260 in 63 games. And another Olympic team member from 1996. He was on the United States team at the Summer Olympics in Atlanta.
It's a tough spot coming up in this organization now. He was a catcher to begin with. Sorry, Pierzynski's there. Playing some first base. Well, Mankiewicz is there. That's like what happened with Kadire. I mean, he came up as a shortstop. Sorry, we got Guzman. Okay, I'll play third. No, we got a guy named Corey Koski not going anywhere. That's a nice problem for Ron Gardenhire to have.
9-2 Minnesota in the 6th inning. Strike 3 call. Got him looking. And that's the end of the inning. But the A's have to be kicking themselves. It looks like they will lose 2 games in which Hudson was on the mound with a lead of 2 or more. Tony Gwynn, Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, and it is Division Series Game 4. Oakland leading the series 2-1. But the Twins with a giant lead, 9-2 in the 7th. Terrence Long will start things off here against the left-hander Milton. The 7 runs scored by Minnesota in the 4th inning tied a club record for the most runs in a game in an inning. as far as the postseason game goes. And last time they did that was October 17th in the World Series against St. Louis in 1987. And the Twins would win that World Series, as they would win the 91 World Series with Ron Gardenhire as the third base coach for Tom Kelly. He won that in 7 against the Braves. Remember Jack Morris on this very mound, going out there and pitching 10 innings to best John Smoltz. There's Jack.
One of the best performances I can remember.
Incredible. It was loud that night. In comes Hunter. Jones comes over. Jock Jones would like to take it, and does. Long flies out, 1 away.
I mean, I think if that game went 20 innings, Jack Morris was going to still be on the hill. He had that look in his eye, didn't he?
He was not coming out.
When he was warming up before that game, they asked him what music would he like to have over the loudspeakers, and he said, how about Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On?
There's some sweet music.
So they played that, and some of the Braves knew they were in trouble because Jack was feeling it.
I like the music they played before the game this afternoon. Bon Jovi's It's My Life, It's Now or Never. Well, the Twins took that to heart.
I wonder if that was Minkiewicz's suggestion, because he was the guy that really threw down the gauntlet today and said they will not celebrate. The A's will not be celebrating in the Metrodome today. He pretty much guaranteed a win. And then he went out and so far has played a great defensive game. He had 2 hits in that 4th inning uprising. He made a lot of it happen. Catcher Ramon Hernandez 0 for 2 in this game. Finally got off the schneid yesterday. He had been 0 for 11 in the series before an 8th inning single, and that was tacked on to his 0 for 10 division series against the Yankees last fall. So he's 1 for 14 in this division series, which looks like it is going to a 5th game on Sunday. Routinely hit to Guzman. That's out number 2.
Milton's really settled in and does a nice job of just throwing strikes, mixing his pitches up, keeping the ball down in the zone. And this might be his last inning of work.
Well, they've had Loesch warming up down the left field line in the bullpen, and Milton is up to 102 pitches. Eric Milton hasn't won since August 1st when he shut out the White Sox.
Yeah, but he pitched well the last couple of starts leading up to this one. As a starting pitcher, you don't always control that outcome. Just the effort you put into it, and well, what a tremendous effort we've seen this afternoon. He stepped up big time. This is a legit number 1 you're looking at.
Just 1 walk today, but that's nothing new. He walked 30 men all year in 29 starts. So superb command. Ray Durham, the hitter, he's 0 for 3.
Well, why wouldn't you put it in play with those guys behind you? That ain't a bad guy in front of you you're throwing to either.
The strike, you saw Gardenhire imploring him to continue to throw strikes, to not walk Durham.
But he's just playing catch, too.
Yeah.
Look at that, Tony. I mean, that was just 87 miles an hour. Just here, go ahead.
Swing and a miss, 3-2.
Now you take it to 88.
Exactly.
You know, you just...
You don't have to try to overpower anybody right now. You're definitely got the advantage, and all you want to do is throw strikes, change speeds.
Ground ball, nice snap by Koski across the diamond, got him. So the Twins, with that 7-run lead, will come on up to hit again at the bottom of the 7th. Well, they're busy inside the Metrodome. Superheroes and also the guys packing the equipment. You think the Twins are looking ahead? Well, they are starting to pack that truck to head to the airport when this game is over. If necessary, Game 5 in Oakland, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Now, that game could air on ESPN2 if the Yankees win tonight. Right now scheduled for ABC Family, but it could air on ESPN2 if the Yankees stave off elimination tonight. It will be Game 5 in Oakland.
thinking about travel. I don't know where I'm going, when I'm going. Where are you going, Tony?
I have no idea.
What do you got, like 4 reservations on 3 different carriers right now? Wow. Torrey Hunter is 1 for 3 with an RBI double.
I think it's pretty awesome that the Twins had enough confidence to have that truck ready to go out there, because, like I said, if the Twins win this game, they got to fly out to the West Coast and be ready to go tomorrow.
So do the A's, as Hunter stings one into the gap. His last couple of swings have been right on the money. That'll be a single. That's how the bottom of the 7th begins for Minnesota. That coming off of Lilly, who had set down 7 in a row. Just the 9th hit for Minnesota. You'd expect with 9 runs to have like 14 or 15 hits, but if you're just joining us, Oakland really helped with that 7-run onslaught by Minnesota, committing 2 errors, 2 wild pitches, a hit batter in that 4th, and that's when the Minnesota Twins busted a 2-2 tie and made it 9-2. And this guy had a lot to say in that inning, Doug Mankiewicz.
The biggest thing now is that you want to try to go up to the plate and get a good at bat. You know, just because you're up 9-2, this isn't the time to start wasting at bats. You want to go up there with a good game plan and try to execute.
Well, they started with a good game plan.
They did today.
A strike taken. Doug today 2 for 3 with a pair of singles, 1 driving in a run. So he now has 4 hits in this division series. Hunter at first. He's not being held. Little looper. Chavez goes to the seats, but it's off into the crowd. And it looks like Eric Milton is finished, and he turned in a superb clutch effort today. 7 innings, walked only 1 man, 108 pitches, and that on a knee that was barking at him his last start, but as you 2 pointed out, he didn't feel a thing today.
And he gave them exactly what they needed with a strong start. He didn't give up any runs in the first inning. Gave his team a chance to try to put something on the board.
Check swinging, it's inside, and that is so important because, Rick, you touched on it before the game, to stay away from a big inning, because that's how the A's have gotten in front 2 games to 1.
Well, and you do that by getting the first guy out, and you really excite the crowd and your teammates when you do it via the strikeout. And that, to me, is what the postseason's all about. Power type guys have more success in October.
Shot to right. Dive back, turning around, it sails, it is gone. A home run from Mankiewicz. He said before the game, not in our house, not in the Metrodome. The A's won't be celebrating. 3 hits, 3 RBIs. With emphasis, he knocks it out of the ballpark.
Tony, I think you might have heard me when I said last inning, you know, he only hits 260, 64 RBIs, and 10 homers. You know what? He's just not that type of player, is he?
No, he's not. But you know what? You make a mistake. You make a mistake out over the plate. That's what he can do. He did it in Oakland off Hudson and does it again here off Lilly.
And that mistake traveled 384 feet. Off the end of the bat, dropping fast. It's a base hit for Dustin Moore. His first hit today.
Boy, they're all getting involved, and they're getting more and more confident. David Ortiz with a couple of hits and an RBI. Even Guzman, who's 0-4, and Rivas, who's 0-3, they have scored a run today. Now, obviously, they got on with an error, but Tony, how much confidence does it give you when you touch home plate and it counts?
It gives you confidence by contributing, and that's what they're doing. They might not be swinging a bat real well, but they've gotten on base, they've scored runs, they've made plays.
Brzezinski tried to check, but went around. 7 different Twins have hits today. Mankiewicz has 3. And 11 runs from Minnesota in games 2 and 3 combined. They scored just 4 times.
So as we were discussing, Ortiz got a couple of big hits today for the Twins, and really the only guy left is Rivas. He's the only one that, if he could get one good at bat today, that might help him immensely going into tomorrow's game.
Tell you what, boy, it's like watching your son grow up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that voice gets a little deeper. And
into center, long there to make the catch. That's the first out here in the bottom of the 7th.
all of a sudden you start seeing some facial hair and you think, you know what, he's becoming a man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's happening here in Minnesota.
Brzezinski, he put a great swing on that. Lined it to center. He swung the bat extremely well in this series.
That's a tough 1 for 3 he's got.
I know, you're right.
The bat shatters on a foul ball by Rivas. Well, the 11 runs scored today by the Twins ties a Minnesota postseason record. The crowd today set a new record, 55,960.
You know, and they deserve this. And get excited because you deserve it. But reality is going to set in tomorrow when they're going to have to leave this ballpark where they have the advantage of the turf and their speed. They're going to have to go play a National League, American League West team. They're a 500 ball club on the road and outside of the American League Central, the division they played in. They're having all kinds of trouble against left-handed pitchers, and there's a real good one waiting tomorrow.
That's Mark Mulder, who has already beaten them in the series. As a club, the Twins hit fully 30 points less against left-handers. Of course, up and down the lineup, you see the explanation for that, all the left-hand hitters. And it has at times hurt Gardenhire's team. He said, look, that's the lineup that got us here, and that's the lineup that's going to take us further if we're going to keep on going. How hungry are the Oakland A's going to be in Game 5? I mean, last year they lost the 5th game to the Yankees after leading in that series 2-0. And both sides obviously are going to be desperate for it. The loser goes home. But for Oakland, they certainly do not want to suffer heartbreaking back-to-back years in Game 5 when leading in each series. Fouled off to the right. In fact, it would be the 3rd consecutive 5-game series in the division series for Oakland.
I think for Minnesota, the key tomorrow is the same thing it was today. Those, not only the first inning for Radke, but those first 3 innings. Give him an opportunity to scratch out a hit. If he can put 3 zeros up in the first 3 innings, he might have a 3-0 lead.
Rivas takes up high, runner at first.
But when you fall behind and you got a team that relies on taking the extra base and stealing bases and bunting, you fall behind 2 runs, that just basically handcuffs your strength.
I think this game was really set up from the very beginning. The Twins were facing a right-handed pitcher, which they felt very confident about.
Shot down into the corner. That's going to be a fair ball. And it bounces away from Justice. Here's the throw to the plate. The dive. He is out at home. Moore cut down at the plate. He thought he got that hand in there. But a beautiful relay by the Oakland A's. And Moore is erased trying to score the 12th run.
You talk about a perfect relay for the A's. Justice to Tejada, 1-hop throw to the plate.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he was out or not.
I'm trying to see if, I think that hand got stuck and he slid it right across his foot.
Well, let's see what happened. Right there we go. Oh, he got it in there.
I don't know. Let's look at that one more time. It looked like he kind of dragged it right across his foot. And like I said, I think this series was set up from the beginning because the Twins were confident facing a right-handed pitcher. The other thing, the A's don't really hit left-handed starters that well themselves.
Micah Bowie on, and we'll be back in a moment. The lead is 9 here in the 7th inning. Guilty the batter. He's hitting for Jock Jones.
I think this at bat right here could determine who hits cleanup tomorrow. Left-handed pitcher. You know, the question, sure, Ortiz got some hits today, but they were off a right-hander. This might be the cleanup hitter tomorrow with a hit.
Ortiz with a single and a double.
I don't know. I think it'd be pretty hard for me to stick him in the 4-hole, trying to compare Bowie to Mulder.
That's true.
It's, you know, I think Gardenhire's going to stick to his guns. He's going to go with the guys that brought him to the dance. And like we talked about at the beginning of this game, you know, guys aren't getting base hits, but they're taking good. They have good approaches. They're taking good swings. They're just not getting good results.
Well, today, good results, though, for Minnesota as they pile up 12 hits to this point.
Tell you what we'll do. Now that I live in San Diego and we're neighbors, we'll bet dinner on it, right?
All right.
Let's see, Dave, that's a win for me.
Yeah, I know.
Either way, I'm going to dinner with Tony.
See, knowing Rick, he's already talked to Gardenhire. He just hadn't said anything yet. So
I don't know what Tony's worried about. Tony doesn't pay for anything in San Diego.
Yeah, right.
Crying out loud. Hasn't bought a meal there since 1985. That's his town. Down low on Kilty, and the count is 3-2.
What a good at that. More and more patience, more and more confidence for this young ball club.
I think people heard us talking about that in the beginning, but weren't really sure, you know, what we were talking about. Well, this is it right here.
Strike 3. Kilty caught looking, but 2 more runs in from Minnesota. Mikheyevich with a 2-run homer in the frame. It is 11-2. Since they broke it open in the 4th inning, it's been all Minnesota. A do-or-die game for the Twins, and they're up 11-2. Kyle Lohse comes out of the bullpen, celebrating his 24th birthday just yesterday, and he had a fine season. The youngster went 13-8, making 31 starts for Minnesota. Dustin Moore moves over to left field from right, and Kilty stays in right field for the Twins.
I was talking with Ron Gardenhire yesterday, and he said the thing that he really felt bad about was not getting a start for Kyle Lohse. He thought that Kyle pitched so well, and he said, I got every bit of confidence in the world in getting him a start. Got to feel good to get him out there, even though it's not a start. Get him into this game.
He faces Scott Hatterberg first. It is on to the 8th inning. Hatterberg with a double in the 1st inning, and then he walked in the 3rd right before Miguel Tejada crushed a line drive that skipped off the top of the left field fence and went out for a 2-run homer. And at the time, the A's had grabbed a 2-0 lead. That's a distant memory now for Oakland. And it appears the A's are going to have to go back to Northern California and again, for the 3rd consecutive year, play a Game 5 in the division series. And Art Howe hoping for a vastly different result. It's not the Yankees, after all, they're playing, but the Twins, in a clutch effort today, have come through in a major way. Hit hard to left. Moore backing up to make the catch. So that's the first out. More baseball coming up today. The Yankees and the Angels, Game 4 on Fox. The Angels leading that series 2-1. Big win for them last night, 9-6. A come-from-behind effort. And on ABC Family tonight at 7:30. Arizona trying to stay alive. St. Louis attempting the sweep. That's Game 3 at 7:30 Eastern. Again on ABC Family. Major League Baseball playoffs continuing today and tonight. And Corey Lytle, who had just a spectacular month of August and was such a big part of the A's 20-game winning streak. I mean, he just didn't lose. He didn't give up any runs. He is warming up in the bullpen.
You know, it's not always, you know, about how you play, but who you play for. Kyle Lohse, Corey Lytle, with all of the injuries to the St. Louis Cardinals rotation, they would probably get a postseason start, but not the case here.
Tejada swings and misses for strike 3. So it looks like he'll finish his day 1 for 4 with a 2-run homer.
It looks like the Twins are going to finish the season, whenever that might be, with a pretty good starting pitcher to come back with next year. Kyle Lohse with 13 wins this year. Dave, you mentioned, just turned 24 years of age. This future is bright for him as well.
out of Chico, California. Eric Chavez, also out of Southern California. He is 1 for 3 with a 6th inning single.
That's 94. It's a big number, Tony.
Oh, I know.
John Mabry on deck. And Mabry, who is one of the mid-season pickups, actually before that, before the halfway point, and he had a lot of big hits coming off the bench. And proved to be maybe the best pinch hitter in the American League in the second half.
I think that's one of the real strengths of this Oakland A's ball club. You're not going to notice it as much in the American League because they don't pinch hit a lot. But you've got Greg Myers, Bull down there, Mabry, Velarde we saw yesterday, Burns and Piot.
A high fly to right. And Kilty will mosey on in for the catch. And that's a quick frame for the Oakland A's. They get retired 1, 2, 3, and it's on to the bottom of the 8th. The Twins moving closer to a Game 5. Bottom of the 8th inning coming away from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Well, don't miss the extreme illusions of Chris Angel in an all-new original special, Mind Freak, premiering Sunday, October 20th. That's part of the 13 Nights of Halloween on ABC Family. Bunch of changes here for the Oakland A's. Randy Velarde is now the second baseman. Greg Myers is the catcher. Line drive up the right field line, but a foul by Guzman. Adam Piot also takes over in left field, and Mabry remains in the ball game in right.
I'll tell you one thing that's really surprising me, Tony, in this postseason. All the great names, and really only one pitcher's duel this year thus far. Chuck Finley locked up with Kurt Schilling, game 2 there. You surprised? Where's all the runs coming from?
I think mistakes, really. I mean, you look at Randy Johnson said it himself. You know, he got some balls up. He elevated some balls. You know, even in the postseason, these guys will take advantage of balls that are elevated. And so if you're not hitting your spots and you're not going to play good defense, these guys are going to put runs on the board.
Micah Bowie remaining on the mound, bounced that one to the plate.
You know, it's got to be mistakes, as you say, because with great pitching, no one, I mean, you're going to score runs and make errors from time to time, but normally those guys don't give up homers.
Exactly.
It's harder to hit homers this time of year because of the quality of pitching. Yeah. There's a lot of home runs.
A whole lot of them.
Guzman with a topper off the line. He scored a run in the 4th inning. And so did a bunch of his teammates as the Twins pushed across, largely because of Oakland mistakes, 7 runs. Only 4 hits in the inning, but Oakland made 2 errors. 2 wild pitches certainly hurt. And the game came undone. It was 2-2 going into that inning. Cut on and missed by Guzman. So he will get to the bench, a strikeout victim. And there's one away here in the home half of inning number 8. Fans, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Go to MLB.com to bid on special autographed and game-used items currently up for auction to benefit the September 11th Disaster Relief Fund. And again, that's MLB.com.
How many times you read that this year, Martin?
71 and counting. And I couldn't get Tony Gwynn to read it.
I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to say that.
I'm over here breaking my back on disclaimers 2-3 times a week.
See, it's.
And I know it sounds easy, Tony, but
I'm the new guy. Hey, my job is to watch what happens between the white lines. That's what I.
Sure.
And I try to.
That was it. He kept coming at me with, "I'm the rookie. Yes. I'm the rook in the booth. You know, I'll even carry your suit."
Exactly. I'll carry his bag. Hey, I'll do whatever you want me to do, Dave.
I guarantee you put us under pressure.
Oh,
with that
really? That's
disseminated. I can get it out now, but with all no.
See, that was flawless. I knew you'd come. See how easy it is, Tony? Disseminated. It's in and out, and it's I don't know. Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Well, it's going to be maybe next year for one of these 2 teams. The way things look right now. And we're going to know which one that's going to be sometime tomorrow. What a year for both of them. What two fun teams to watch. Great personalities.
Yeah,
too.
they do that.
Not only players, but people.
Yeah, you're right.
And two very balanced ball clubs and so evenly matched. It ought to come down to a game 5. Atterberg with a nice play for the second out. So we have 2 gone in the bottom of the 8th inning. And here's our Reese's Peanut Butter Cup pitching summary. It was a short outing for Hudson. Although he threw 90 pitches, just 3 1/3. He will take the loss here today. Eric Milton, 7 innings. He was superb, 3 strikeouts. And that was with the Twins facing elimination, and he was magnificent.
He was.
You know, if they're sponsoring that thing, I bet there's some of those around here for us to eat, Tony. I mean, Halloween's coming up. Huh?
We got a long way to go before we get to Halloween now. It's only
Start eating them now, though. That wouldn't hurt anything.
One of my favorite holidays, and those Reese's Peanut Butter Cups have a lot to do with that.
Oh, they are delicious, Rick.
See, these guys, Rick and Dave, they've done too many games.
That's right. It's feeling that way.
Yeah, I do that once a week game, and man, I 11-2. Look, he found him.
That's a veteran move here, T. Huh? I'll take care of you. You're going to be buying me dinner.
Swing and a miss by LaCroix. The bases are empty, 2 away, 11-2 Minnesota. If you're just joining us and wonder what happened, well, the short version is this. The game was tied up 2-2 going into the bottom of the 4th inning, and then the Twins exploded for 7 runs in that one frame. And the A's had a disastrous defensive inning. And it's been all Minnesota ever since. Game 5 tomorrow. They're already packing the truck outside the Minnesota clubhouse. In fact, they've been doing that for about an hour. So Ron Gardenhire about to get on the charter and head to Northern California for the 5th and deciding game of this division series on Sunday. Swing and a miss for strike 3. 1-2-3. Go the Minnesota Twins.